and didn't see him and drove over his rear end and sort of grounded into the driveway, and he yelped, and they stopped and apologized, and it wasn't that bad. He just sort of got cut his skin a little bit. He got to hang out inside for a couple days, but it wasn't that bad, so we stuck him back outside. I was going to check on him a couple days later and see where the cut was. There were some maggots in there, flies that laid eggs, and people who know about how nature takes care of things, the rotten flesh, it's good to get rid of it. And maggots will do that. They'll eat up the rotten flesh and actually clean out the wound. It's actually a good thing, but I was didn't know that, and was sort of like sick to my stomach seeing this. And I had a 5-gallon bucket in my hand, and I was going out to the potato patch to knock Colorado potato beetles off potato plants. Anybody know about Colorado potato beetles? Those little red guys that magically reproduce and eat your potato plants alive. We had this thing we did, which was we take 5-gallon buckets and we knock the potato bugs off the potato plants every 2 days to keep the potato plants alive a little bit longer before they got eaten alive. And I was...
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to interrupt. This is Dan Kittredge. He's talking about how he got into regenerative soil, that movement. Today is National Soil Day, I think it's called. I don't know what year it is, but this is my first year knowing of it. So I wanted to just put together a quick video of, people talking about soil, my opinion on the importance of regenerating the soil. I believe that soil is the basis of the entire world, and we have degraded it. Well, I won't say we, but people have degraded it over the past, hundreds of years through tilling. Anyways, this is Dan Kittredge. I'm gonna let him speak a little bit more, and I'm gonna go to a couple more videos so you guys can see who's out there doing the work.
I was thinking about the fact that there was larvae eating my dog, and I was repulsed by that. And there were larvae eating my potato plants, and I thought that was totally normal. And we sometimes become inured to things because of our ignorance. I would suggest nature speaks to us very directly and very clearly, and oftentimes we don't have the eyes to see or the ears to hear. If I was raising chickens that they were being eaten alive by a flesh-eating fungus, like a staph infection or something, would I in good conscience slaughter those chickens and sell them to you or feed them to my children? Probably not. If I've got cucumbers that have powdery mildew, which is a little fungus that lives on the leaf surface and turns them white and then brown, and in most people's cases, that's what kills your tomatoes, your cucumbers and your zucchini and your winter squash every year. A flesh-eating fungus. Right? Being eaten alive by a flesh-eating fungus is a sign of not being healthy. And yet it happens to our crops, most people's crops, most of the time. And we have in conventional ag strategies for applying toxins to kill the pathogen. But that's responding to the symptom, not responding to the cause. And so, as I was thinking about all this kind of stuff, I thought maybe I could make a living farming if my plants were healthy. And
so basically, he's going to get to the point here in a second, but the soil basically is the number one thing, the most important thing to the life or to having a healthy plant. Now, with that being said, I'm going to move on to something else a little bit more important. Not really more important, but this is how I really got introduced into the whole regenerative soil depletion, carbon, composting. This guy here, this next guy I'm going to show you right now, is how I got introduced to it all as of late. Now, I've always been like this wannabe scientist ever since I was a little boy. Never really took it serious. Still not really taking it serious, but I am taking it serious when it comes to my gardening, my soil, making compost, learning more things every single day about soil and the soil microbes and the fungi and bacteria, nematodes, ciliates. I'm learning all this stuff. I'm about to get a microscope, low key. Yeah, I'm about to get a microscope. I don't know if I'll be able to use it right away, but I'll learn. Anyways, y'all sit tight. relax, and hit that like too. I'll be back in a second.
The word humans comes from the word humic, which means soil. We need to realize that soil is a part of us. The current production model is broken. It's not working. It's not sustainable. In regenerative agriculture, you have to be able to use the power of observation. You have to look at the landscape and see, what's this soil trying to tell me? What are the chances of a kid who grew up in town, not from a farm or ranch, going out, starting to farm, be put through 4 years of natural disasters, hail and drought, and then being able to come back from that and educate myself, how do soils really function? I went no-till. I started adding all these different cover crops, and I saw a real change in the health of our soil. We're losing topsoil at an alarming rate. We can mitigate that by using the 5 principles. We don't want to till the soil any more than we have to. Least amount of chemical disturbance means we got to cut back on the synthetics, whether it be fertilizer, pesticides, fungicides. All of those have negative impacts to the soil ecosystem. The residue from whether it be crops or leaves in a forest, it's the skin of the soil. If you leave soil bare, it's prone to wind erosion, water erosion, temperatures rise, evaporation increases. It's totally negative to a healthy functioning soil ecosystem. So that armor on the soil surface is the skin of the soil, and it protects that soil. Where in nature do you find monocultures? Usually only where man put them. Yet look what we're doing in production agriculture today. We're seeding monoculture cash crops. We run only one species of livestock in our pastures. That all has a negative impact on the ecosystem. So we want to add diversity.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave it right here. If you guys want to watch the rest of this video, I'm getting this from WWF International. You see the little panda bear here on the bottom left of the screen. This is where you can find this video and other videos like this. That's Gabe Brown, man. Gabe Brown. I watched his. I can't remember where it was. Netflix maybe, or maybe YouTube. But Gabe Brown introduced me to a lot of things. Gabe Brown and one other person. This next person, I'll tell you. Y'all stay tuned. This next person really, I think, hammered the importance of soil health in my brain. But Gabe Brown was also that guy. Yeah, I'll let you see this guy next. Y'all just sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and hit that like coming through the door.
Time to enroll in a Medicare plan is now.
Well, a tragedy is unfolding. Most people will see tragedies only when it comes to the bank. But if you're sensitive, you can see it happening all around you. It's not that suddenly we thought of Save Soil Movement. Last 26, 27 years we've been working on this.
So some of the world bodies, what they predict is, in another 25-30 years, India is going to face such a serious drinking water shortage. In the last 15-20 years, many small streams and rivulets that you had seen when you were children no more exist. They're just gone.
It's not a joke. This is bringing untold suffering to human race.
progress and suffering. The way you're handling the land, in the next 15 years' time, there will be no monsoons for you. Only storms will come, huge fury of rain which will just drain the soil. Both environmentally and otherwise, it looks like our intention is to leave a desert for our children, not a live world. It's time we did something about it. If we don't do this, there is no point being a human being. These 60 million people in Tamil Nadu, if they realize what needs to be done, just in 5 years' time you can have the whole place green.
Today, the spotlight is on a project called Green Hands in India.
We started a mass campaign and 6 years I spent planting trees in people's heads. That's the most difficult terrain, believe me. It's unfortunate that 7 lakh trees is a Guinness record. I want to see that everybody breaks the record. 114 million trees if you plant in Tamil Nadu, 33% green cover will be there. So a time has come, if you don't fix it, there will be nothing to fix after some time. The planting trees thing came up, essentially because we wanted to save the soil. If farmers are committing suicide, just now it's not the bank, it's the land. The land is getting weaker and weaker. Plus, we're pumping poison into the earth like crazy. Suppose all the worms got poisoned. They died in big numbers, that's it. People will die in millions, just like that. I took thousands of people, what they are breathing out, the trees are inhaling. What the trees are exhaling, they are inhaling. Bringing this experience into people, that what you think as myself is not within the boundaries of your physical nature. It goes well beyond that. This is not a protest, nor is this an agitation. This is a campaign to raise awareness that our rivers are depleting. Everyone. When I say everyone, everyone who consumes water must rally for rivers. Why this journey? It may not happen.
Okay, so this is Sadhgure, and this is the person I started watching maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I think. I don't even know how long it's been, but he just started popping up in my feed, my YouTube feed, and I'm like, who is this guy? And I started listening to him, and the more I started listening to him and his message about saving the soil, the more I became convinced that, okay, we really need to take a look at this thing. Because look, I'm from South Carolina, and when I was a little boy, I said this before, we stayed outside in the summer times, and our treats, our candy was plums from the trees, blackberries from the trees, blueberries, and now I hadn't seen a plum on a tree in South Carolina in the summertime in over 20 years. So I've always had this question: where are the plums? Where are the blackberries? Where are the blueberries, the chinnaberries, so many different berries and fruit that just grew natural in South Carolina here in the lower, I'm near Charleston area. I don't see anything but weeds and grass growing in the summertime. So all of that led me to thinking back to maybe it could be something with this soil depletion thing. Anyways, the next person I'm going to show you is the last person for right now. And this, I just found out about her a couple months ago. But y'all stay tuned, man. Hit that like. I'll be back in a second.
Why is it important to have well-structured soil? A well-structured soil will allow water to gradually flow through it. As the water passes down through the soil profile, it creates a vacuum, and so fresh air is drawn into the soil, thus creating aerobic or oxygen-rich conditions. This is crucially important, as the majority of disease-causing microbes cannot operate in oxygen-rich environments, and they are forced to shut down. Meanwhile, beneficial microorganisms thrive in oxygen-rich environments. Water droplets are held in the numerous cracks and crevices, and in organic matter for long periods of time, thus increasing drought resistance. Good structure allows plant roots to move effortlessly through the soil profile without having to work hard against compaction layers. In soils where good structure has not been built by beneficial microorganisms, compaction layers are easily formed by vehicles, by human and animal traffic, and where the soil surface is left bare by rainfall. Compaction layers force plant roots to grow sideways, limiting their access to nutrients and water. When plant roots break through compaction layers, they encounter anaerobic or low oxygen conditions. Those are occupied by anaerobic microorganisms, which produce highly acidic compounds. Roots cannot survive in such conditions where the pH can be lower than 4. When water flowing through a soil meets a compaction layer, it can't get through, and so, in heavy rain, this can result in a saturated layer of soil sitting on a hard compaction layer. If there is an incline, the topsoil can start to move, resulting in a landslide. This type of soil erosion is a big problem in many places around the world. So how is good structure built by the soil food web? Well, this depends on the type of soil we're dealing with. The terms sand, silt, and clay describe the size of the soil mineral particles. Sand particles are relatively big, and so are the spaces in between them. Water quickly finds its way through the gaps, and not very much water is retained, especially if the...
Okay, this is a great video, but this is not the video I wanted to show. But I'm getting this from Dr. Elaine Ingham. This is from her school. The school is called the Soil. Let me see what it's called. The Soil Food Web School. Let me see if I can find the right video here now. I think this might be the one I was looking for right here.
Why does sometimes compost do great things for plant production, and other times it doesn't do much at all, and then other times it actually kills the plant? And this all comes back down to the fact that people had no clue about biology. They didn't understand what had to be in a real compost to improve. So back when I was working on my master's degree, we dabbled around with some compost and actually made some compost extracts and some compost teas at the same time, and we just killed all the plants. So clearly didn't pay attention to the proper things. And
so first of all, I got to say shout out to Dr. Elaine Ingham for the LL Bean jacket. I have a pair of LL Bean loafers, house shoes, and I'm loving them. They're leather. But anyways, this is Dr. Elaine Ingham, and she's, maybe out of all the people I showed you, she's taught me the most by just watching her videos and her lectures. I'm going to play a little bit more and I'm going to end this, but yeah, this is Dr. Elaine Ingham, and she's very knowledgeable about soil and the things in soil.
So we kind of, from my master's degree, we went on to oysters. And so when I got to Colorado State University working in soil, starting to understand the biology in soil and starting to see that it was so critically important to differentiate between aerobic conditions and anaerobic conditions. When you're looking at different soils where plants just won't grow, they are just barely eking out an existence, or where the only thing growing here is weeds, just a field of, oh my gosh, weeds, or cheatgrass or something like that, just really horrific. That soil had only bacteria, and it was extremely compacted, possibly even puddling at some time of the year, and you start to finally get a clue that Mother Nature's trying to tell you something here, that when you see these conditions, that means only the horrible plants or no plants at all are going to be able to grow. Okay, so now as you start to see fungi coming in, well, what are the conditions now? We're seeing much better plant growth. Well, and then if we now get protozoa and nematodes and microarthropods, and you really have all this community of activity going on, then you're starting to grow some of the most productive ecosystems in the planet, some of the most diverse. And we kept doing these kinds of transects from the edges of the swamp through up to the old growth forest, and seeing that always, where we had very poor diversity, where we had only bacteria and a few fungi, the successional process was very dependent on what the biology was doing in the soil. So after enough repetition of that, we could actually start doing comparisons of what happens when you improve that biology. So when I did my postdoc at the University of Georgia, we actually took a 2-acre farm and split it in half. It had been in conventional agriculture up to that time, and so one half of it stayed in conventional agriculture, the other half we were going to add biology. Okay, so how do you add biology? Where do you get all of these organisms? Where do you grow them? Where do you grow the ones that exist in this habitat? So we made compost. So we really didn't know, again, here we are, we didn't really know what we were doing, because nobody had a book out, nobody had ever written anything that said really good compost has this much bacteria and this much fungi and this much protozoa and that much. We didn't know for the corn, sorghum, soybean rotations that we were doing down in Georgia, what was the right amount of bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and nematodes for corn? And did it differ from soybean? And should it be something else for sorghum? So did we even really have to do a rotation system? Did we have to do cover crops in the winter? And how much is all this biology going to change when we started doing these things? So huge research project. But the way we put the biology back into that soil was to add organic matter that had a good number of those organisms. And of course, that was me doing the assessments of all of those organisms in that plant material being put back in. And then, of course, we also wanted to do the experiment, small side projects, where we would use antibiotics to kill all of the bacteria. There is no antibiotic on this planet that kills all the bacteria. So we kind of reduced the population some for a very limited period of time.
Okay, so this is Dr. Elaine Ingham, and I can listen to this lady 2-3 hours straight. I've done it, on long trips. Very good information. Just Google her name, YouTube her name, and if you want to learn something about soil, this is the woman to learn it from. With all of that being said, man, happy National Soil Day, I think it's called. I hope this is celebrated. I hope this gets to the point of being celebrated like Christmas. I really do, because it's very important. I think that the biggest issue that we have now with mental illness is coming from the lack of nutrition in our foods. And I think the lack of nutrition in our foods is a direct result of the lack of nutrition or the lack of life in our soil. If we can bring back the life in our soil, I think the nutrition is a byproduct. If we can bring back the nutrition in our food, I believe that we'll see. I think we can surpass the Egyptians as far as innovation, as far as spirituality, as far as evolution goes. I think in order for us to evolve, to make it to the next level of humanity, I think we need to bring back the nutrition in our food. Bring back the life to our soil, thus bringing back the life to our planet. With that being said, man, y'all hit that like. I'll be making more videos. I'll be making way more videos like this, because this is my new thing. This is my thing. Not new thing. This is my thing. I think this is the thing that I've been on, the path that I've been on for all of my life, almost 50 years now. I just didn't know it. I'm a writer. I write. I have books. You can Google my name, Anthony L. Kelly. Don't forget the L to check out all my books. But I can assure you that my next book will include this in detail. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. With that being said, again, y'all hit that like, subscribe, share, comment. Please leave a comment. This is Anthony L. Kelly. Till next time, heal the planet. I'm out.